Do you guys want to know the real difference between great drummers and you? Are you good at video games? Have you played the same scenario over and over and over again before you finally mastered it? How come no one questions the idea that we can learn video games, but everybody thinks that natural talent is inborn? I'm Nate Smith, and this is the 80/20 Drummer. Okay guys, I'm going to take you through a very simple exercise that I call orchestration. And it's in the Faster Hands video, which is on the website listed below, where I get into great depth about it. But here I'm going to apply it to one specific thing. It's also been called theme and variations by other people. And here's why I'm making this video. There's a lot of content out there about what to play. If you tune into the channel of one of my favorite online drummers, Adam Tumarino at orlandodrummer.com, shoutouts, you'll see that he takes you through chops and licks in a very systematic, easy to learn way, and I recommend you check out his channel because it's great. I feel like the way I can supplement that content is by showing you what to do next. Say you've already learned a concept or a chop. Where do you go from there? And jazz guys, this is a question that I get a lot, which is, how do you play good jazz solos? How do you practice that? Why is it that some people can play great jazz solos and other people can't? I'll tell you why. It's because the good players have gotten great at condensing what they need to learn down to a single kernel. Steve Smith talks about this. And drilling that over and over and over again. This is in Dan Coyle's book, The Talent Code. It's called Deep Practice. And the idea is that the most essential part of the skill, you want to isolate that and practice it over and over and over again. So how do you learn to play a complicated solo and improvise in the moment by learning little granular, easy to repeat things? I'll show you how right now. I'm going to give you two sort of quick upfront examples of what this looks like. The first is from a funk fusion context. And I'm not saying you have to be able to perform this one. I'll give you one you can perform later on in the chapter. But this is from the transcription I'm working on for the reality show, the Justin Brown transcription. And this is my own beat. The second is something I was working on today, which is a beat in 5, which is playing on the bell of the ride cymbal, which is deceptively difficult to do in time with a good feel. Watch how I start simple and escalate one step at a time, and I add variation. Okay, so you've seen that. Now I'm going to take you through one you can do on your own, and this is a bit of an advanced example, and it's jazz. I'm going to start out with a Max Roach, Philly Joe Jones jazz cliche. On the snare drum, it's only 1 bar long. Next, I'm going to add a second half to the pattern, so it's now a 2-bar pattern. Next, I add a little grace note, and I add the high tom with the left hand. Next, in the second half of the bar, I add a sweep from high tom to low tom with the left right. Now I add another variation to that, something that just occurred to me, which is another very popular jazz solo cliche. Finally, I add a little bit more modern thing, which is sort of Marcus Gilmore-y, where I put the bass drum and the right foot on the ride on an off beat. Then, just for fun, I de-escalate the whole thing and unwind it, starting at most complex and reverting stage by stage back to the most simple. This is not something you're going to be required to do up front, but it's good to be able to do, and I'll tell you why. In Chapter 2 of the 80-20 Drummer series, I talk about something called the minimum effective beat. And an essential component of that is if you get just beyond your abilities on a gig, you know how to retreat back just one stage so you get back in your comfort zone. This is the secret to great players who never hiccup or miss a beat. Practice this without the metronome at first, just so you get the choreography down. Then practice it with the metronome in the most comfortable placement. If you're interested in some of the tricks I'm doing with the metronome, they're in chapters 3 and 4 of the 80-20 Drummer series about timekeeping and advanced timekeeping. So that's it. That's one application of the orchestration exercise. I'm going to be making more of these videos showing different applications of it, but this is what I consider a core skill to actually getting good. The ability to figure out what's important is key, but then once you figure that out, what do you do with it? How do you improvise with it? One more thing. If anyone wants a transcription of this or any of the stickings, shoot me an email at 8020drummer@gmail.com. Thanks a lot. This is Nate Smith for the 80-20 Drummer. See you soon.